Okay, I'm calling it the era of the passport bros, or really dating in general for men, as far as traditional relationships are concerned, are over. And I'll tell you why I'm probably the best person in the world to tell you this. First of all, right now I'm visiting Philippines, but I live in Thailand, where I've lived now for 3 years. Technically the Mecca for passport bros. And now I'm almost done visiting for 2 weeks the place that I was at 2 years ago. I was here 2 years ago. It was wonderful. It was literally the last place on earth where I remember women still being traditional and sweet and wanting to date and wanting to have sex and being just regular, normal women. It was wonderful. So as things have gone downhill in Thailand and really pretty much everywhere else in the world, I even visited Africa last year, as you probably remember if you follow my channel. But now I'm back to the place where I remember things were the best. And after 2 weeks of spending here, I can tell you that just in 2 years, things have not just gotten worse, but it's completely over. And I visited the same malls, the same restaurants, the same beaches, the same coffee shops, the same clubs and lounges and night markets as I did 2 years ago. Most of them are still here. What's not still here is femininity, the kindness, and just wanting to have a man, wanting to have sex. I mean, everything that we've seen vanish from America and then almost in Thailand now, and definitely in Africa and Europe and so forth. And now I do still want to say two things. One is it is still so much better to live in Southeast Asia, even with all of this bullshit. Because simply, you know, here you still cannot be falsely accused of something you didn't do as a man. You can be fired from your job because you said something and a girl got offended. You can still defend yourself against violence by women, domestic violence by women. You can still tell women off when they're acting like bitches, essentially. And you're not going to lose your job. You're not going to lose your life. You're not going to get blown up on social media for it. So it is still a million times better.
Stop getting played. Download Block Her free at themillionmenproject.com.
Another reason it's better is that even though you probably have no chance of meeting a traditional good girl, you can purchase everything that you want as a man at a very reasonable price pretty much anywhere here. And I can't say anymore. I hope you guys are reading between the lines because YouTube is run by essentially simps and modern women. So I don't want my channel to be taken down. It was already demonetized the other day, of course. So I don't want to get really fully canceled. Now, what I've noticed here is that a few things. One is, I don't know where good-looking women have gone. Honestly, I love Filipino women, and I'm not really that much into Thai women, as I realized. But I have seen more good-looking women in Thailand than I've seen Filipino women here in Philippines. That should tell you something. I don't have a logical explanation of what really happened because were they all shipped out to Manila, the main city, to make money? Why weren't they shipped out 2 years ago? It's not like that was a secret. In Bangkok, we have that same thing happening in Thailand for a long time. So the quality of women has gone down. Now, most of them don't dress very well anymore. They don't do makeup, they don't do hair, they don't give a fuck anymore. Just like they don't really anywhere else in the world. Definitely not in Thailand, where I will be still gladly going back to on Monday. They certainly don't want sex or relationships. 2 years ago when I was here, again, doing exactly the same thing, I met several women who I went out on regular dates, and with the possibility of a relationship, I hooked up with a couple of girls from meeting them at the lounges and bars, and they just wanted to have sex. That's it, nothing else. In 2 weeks of being here, none of that has happened. I would say 80% of women that I've approached with whatever, dating apps, lounges, bars, clubs, coffee shops, 80%, and I know you guys probably think I'm exaggerating, but 80% of them were hookers. They asked for money for sex, essentially. They have no interest in actual sex. They have no interest in relationships. 80%? We don't even have that in Thailand. And it's pretty bad in Thailand already. Now, in America, I would say it's actually higher than that, except for women don't flat out just ask for money for sex. They ask it in different ways, right? It starts with dinners and gifts and purses and trips and stuff like that. And so you still end up paying for you know what, except for here, it's much more, I guess, honest, which I do appreciate, and much cheaper for sure. I mean, think about it, what these idiots spend on women who they have the relationship with, while essentially renting them. And I call them subscription prostitution. So I've tried everything. Like, I came here on a mission, right? I'm not here on vacation. I'm not here to do anything else but to really just go after women, talk to other men. I had 2 of my friends visit, one last week also, and one in January. So it's just a couple of months ago, and they had the same thing. They're like, whoa, what the hell has happened? Now, if you haven't followed me, I live in Thailand for almost 3 years. And when I came there as a true passport bro, to realize 2 things. One is the passport bros that you see on social media are not really passport bros. They're just losers who are able to afford better hookers, right? And you can pretty much see by the women that they're with. I mean, no decent man who met a wonderful woman in Thailand or Philippines or whatever is actually going to put her on camera and parade her on social media, right? So that hasn't been happening. And also, there's really no such thing as a passport bro movement, as I realized, because in about 3 years of living in Thailand, I've met 5 real passport bros. And by that I mean men who didn't want to deal with Western women anymore. They wanted to move to a traditional culture, meet a traditional girl to marry, maybe have kids, have a family, the actual real intentions. And not because she, didn't have any other choice and you just pull her out of poverty. They don't care about that here, by the way. They really don't. And 4 out of 5 of those guys has actually ended up what I call purchasing a wife, right? They just met a girl, just drowned her in cash, and then essentially made her quit her job and paid off the family. And you know how that story goes, essentially. So really, out of all passport bros that I even know, one besides me is actually have tried to do what I have tried to do, with unfortunate results. Now, like I said, I can't emphasize enough, still living in Southeast Asia as a single man, as a single straight white man, is a million times better no matter what. Just being away from modern women is a treat already, even though at this point, like I said, I'm calling it, you can't get into a real relationship. Another theory that I've came up with, which I think proves me right almost on every daily basis, if you see a girl who is an 8 or higher, she is for hire. She will charge you money to be with her, consciously or subconsciously. A lot of these women were just kind of like made into hookers by the guys, by the simps who've essentially approached her. A lot of guys here don't know how to approach women except for, here's a pile of cash. And a lot of these girls kind of, in the last several years, grew up with this as they were dating, and they don't even understand what a normal good man is anymore. In their minds, is the guy who brings a lot of cash, compliments, and makes you essentially just live your easy life. A lot of these guys make their wives quit their jobs, because then you really got her, right? Because she cannot leave you. And I've had conversations with them, because some of them are my friends, and well, former friends sometimes. And even though I flat out told them, I said, dude, like, you don't want your wife not to have a job.
Stop getting played. Download Block Her free at themillionmanproject.com.
Despite all of my logic and reasoning that I've talked to you guys about on this channel, they didn't care. So, and that's one of the reasons I just can't be friends with a guy who just purchases a wife and then lives in this delusional universe, despite someone like me and many others telling them not to. So essentially, at the end of the day, there was never such a thing as a passport bro movement. There were some of us who tried it. Some did so successfully, but there's just very, very few numbers of them. Now, as I mentioned, I can't wait to go home on Monday. Thailand is still by far the best place to live. If you followed me, you know I'm dating several women at the same time, casually. They all know about each other. It's a great life. As a matter of fact, not really sure. No, I'm actually quite sure I don't really want to seek a relationship anymore, at least for now. So at this point, no matter where you're at in the world, I can definitely essentially tell you it is over for now. Things are getting better. Things are getting better already in America. There's tons of women who are realizing that men just lost interest in dealing with them. Most men now that have walked away have literally just truly walked away from dating. Some will still use professional services of women just to get what they need. And you see more and more women complaining about that there are no men, no one's coming up to them at coffee shops or bars or even events when they go to speed dating or whatever dating events. A lot of times it's mainly women, and men don't really show up. I see this video more and more, and that tells me that things are moving in the right direction. Here, they're actually kind of very similar, but of course behind. In Bangkok, we have more and more women who are now going out to a certain park and wear black. That's the thing, I guess, to signal that they're single and they want to meet guys in person, because even the dating apps that are full of Sims and Johns is just no longer working, even for these little hoes, even back home in Thailand. So things are definitely changing, but it's going to be a minute. So if you're a single guy right now, don't bother moving anywhere, really. Something that I would, of course, advise only just a few years ago. Sit this one out for a few years. Enjoy your single life. Do come to Thailand, absolutely, if you want to enjoy your single life. No better place. Just don't try to get into a relationship. Navigate everything very carefully. You can watch some of my other videos, and there are other videos that other men have made about how to be careful with Thai women or Filipino women. But at the end of the day, hold on. There is no more place on earth where you can pursue a traditional relationship. I give it another 5 to 10 years, unfortunately. It will take a minute, but things are changing in a positive direction for men. But as far as 2026 is concerned, I can only promise you things will not get worse, right? That's the only positive thing. So that means there's just a lot of men have adjusted to a single lifestyle, essentially figured out how to get, sex and save a lot of money and time. Meanwhile, you're looking at one of them. If you've already made sort of or joined the MGTOW, men going their own way, movement, it is the best thing that you can do for yourself as a single life. Now, some of you can stay away from sex altogether. Some of you will use services for that. But at the end of the day, I can tell you for sure, no matter where you go in the world, even Philippines or Thailand, things have already, it's done. So let me know in the comment section if you have any questions. I kind of spilled a lot of topics on you. But like I said, I'm sitting here in Philippines. I've specifically researched this as much as I could for you guys, so you don't have to. Well, rest in peace, the Passport Bro movement, which I thought was literally the only way to go several years ago. At the same time, like I said, still, if you have a way to move out of America or Europe, come to Thailand. There are a few other places that I would also recommend, because you may not get the positives of, again, the traditional relationship, but you also will not get negative or false allegations, domestic violence, all of that stuff. And you can still tell women off here. Like, for example, if I come up to a girl, either on dating app or in person, and she's being a bitch, you tell her you're being a bitch and you leave. No one's going to film that. And even if they do, no one's going to really bat an eye, because there's no woke culture here, especially against men. I'm curious to see what's going to happen over the next few years. My prediction is that things will get better, little by little. So do your job. Stop simping if you're still simping. Do not try to waste your time and try to get into a traditional relationship. Figure out how to get laid. And make sure that you improve yourself as a man, because at the end of the day, when the time will come, when women will come around, you can be a better man and you could compete for better women by then.
Stop getting played. Download Block Her free at themillionmanproject.com.